Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.
Good evening and welcome to Sportsline tonight for a Monday, the Monday of Thanksgiving week. If you're watching on live streaming, you can give us a call right now, 724-236-0430. We have an open line waiting for you right now. Mike Pavlik here, George Guido there. George, good evening.
Yeah, good to be with you tonight.
We have the all over Burl Sportsline.
Yeah, there we go.
Tonight. Of course, even when Bob's here, that's pretty much the case too, isn't it? In our studios in beautiful downtown Leechburg before the storm.
Before the storm.
I hope if you got into the store to get your to get the toilet paper and the soup and everything, it's very important that we load up because the world is coming to an end.
Yes, if you look at Channel 11.
All three of them, I watched on 5 o'clock that all three of them lit up with their, starting with the weather, all 3 channels, straight across the board, scaring all the old people. And now they're not going to be able to have Thanksgiving because there may not be anything left. But, well, the Steelers win yesterday, George, yes. and it was a good win for them against the Browns. And it was a game they had to have, and they did. And now
3 in a row.
3 in a row. And the game on Thursday night against the Ravens, if you guys are watching on TV, you're flipped over to us during a commercial. And I really think that game could be for a playoff spot now.
It's really looking that way. There's a cluster there of the 5 and 6 teams, which the Steelers now have become one. And in just a month, the talk has gone as to how high of a draft pick they will have as opposed to now having a legitimate shot at the playoffs. We'll know more at the end of Thursday evening.
I agree with that. I think that if you look at the schedule coming up, after this game in Baltimore, 3 of their last 4 games will be at home. The only road game will be a game at Green Bay, which will be an NFC game, which if there was one that you could afford to lose, that would be the one that you would say that you could. And, you know, they could put themselves in a pretty good position. Right now, Tennessee's ahead of them on a tiebreaker. So their 5 and 6 record is looking good for the last spot right now. But, you know, there's a lot of football to go. And you just wonder, they're playing better. They've cut back on their mistakes. And, you know, they took a team, the Browns, that they should handle, and they did, which is something they haven't done always recently.
They weren't doing that earlier in the year. I think Tennessee is an awful team.
Yeah, well, just look at that.
And Minnesota,
and the Vikings
too.
game is just the one that, and you know, that one, and I'm not big on this. They need to travel earlier, and Charlie Batch has been on this for a while because, you know, everybody travels on the day before the game and gets there, and it's not a big deal. But I thought they left too late to go to London. I think leaving like it was a regular day was just, you know, they should have spent the week over there, and I think they might have been more acclimated. Yeah. So let's take a look at rules and regulations for anybody that wants to try to win a prize tonight, and if you call, you're automatically eligible. So let's go for that. You can win a prize every other week per household. You see the phone number up in the corner of the screen there. You can win a Grand Salami Prize or the Mystery Profile only once a month, calendar month, so we're running out of time here in November. You can try the Mystery Profile once per calendar month also. You get 15 seconds for your multiples, 20 seconds for the salamis, and the Mystery Profile will go clue by clue. We like to keep that moving. First-time callers get 2 or more prizes with a correct answer, and a lot of times, if you haven't called in a long time, we will reinstitute your first-time caller status.
It's kind of like being born again, right?
It really, you ask Jimmy Carter, it works out. And of course, you can catch all the answers to these and other questions on doubledribblebob.com. Just log on to that. And you can also watch the show live streaming right off of there. You can click onto Bob's website to do that. And tune into Bob's radio show on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on WAVL 910 on the AM dial. 724-236-0430 is the number. So anything else, Catcher? Did you watch the Patriots game last night? The Patriots.
That was amazing.
24-0.
Absolutely amazing.
24-0, Denver first half, and Peyton Manning had nothing to do with that. It was all turnovers. He looked like a frozen popsicle.
Yeah.
Jack Del Rio looked like he took a whole can of grease and put it on his face to keep from freezing. It must have been just awful. And the funny part is that Belichick doesn't look any different other than he's got extra stuff on than he does. Did you see
He
him?
smiled at the end of the game, though.
He did? Well, because he knew he stole one. Because he got Brady and the other team doesn't. That's why. Well, here's my favorite part of the game was that well, watching the Vikings game earlier in the day, I said, you start to wonder with the new overtime rules if these coaches might want to actually not take the ball to start with. Well, with the wind and the weather last night, Belichick won the toss and elected to take the wind, and they kicked the ball. And they ended up winning only because Wes Welker muffed the punt. I think if he'd have caught that punt, called a fair catcher, everybody would have got away from it. We'd have had our second tie of the day.
Yeah. Boy, when's the last time that happened?
Yeah, I was going to say back in the days when, and of course there were plenty of players on Green Bay and Minnesota that didn't know there could be a tie. I call that the Donovan McNabb rule. They're going to, we don't have to work on that. But but that was a great game last night. It really was. What a comeback.
Yeah. And hey, Pitt Panthers also bowl eligible right now.
Woohoo!
And Garrett Jones is no longer a member of the Pirates.
So we have all that to throw around, and we're going to do that after we take our first break. We have some studio audience members that would like to pick our brain tonight, which there's probably slim pickings at this point. But we'll let them do that. And George and I will be back after we take the break, right after this.
This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
There once was a hungry road that wouldn't let drivers get very far. It wore out their tires, forcing them to buy new ones. Then along came the Michelin Man who proved the right tire changes everything. With long-lasting tires in place, those drivers were back on the road to saving money. Drive longer with the Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Toronto and Freeport Road in Trona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
At Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox, you have the luxury of choice. Where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Call Mike Fanto and let Tower Auto Sales' experienced staff help you with the purchase of your next pre-owned vehicle. Remember the slogan at Tower, just buy it. Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox. Give them a call at 412-828-6202. Well, George, we might as well clean up football season.
Yes.
Since that ended on Saturday. You were there all day?
I was there all day, did all the games for the Tribune Review, and did extended box scores and a little notebook on each game. Find out all these interesting little tidbits as you go along. And a long day. I got my second wind, I think, about the middle of the third game.
Now, they feed you guys, right?
Yeah.
You guys are taken care of.
Only one meal, though.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it's potato chips and pretzels.
I was going to say, that's probably better than Ace. He probably just gave you a bag lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, things have kind of improved down there
True.
since then. But so what were your thoughts? Anything surprise you? I think all the teams that you mentioned earlier, all the teams that undefeated.
Right.
They
They're all 13-0.
Cleared the deck there.
Stowe Rocks, I'm surprised they were shut out. That was the first time they were shut out since week 3 of 2005.
They looked so nervous at the beginning of that game, didn't you think?
Yeah, and they've been there 3 years in a row.
Exactly. And Lenny Williams can play.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for them. I wanted them to win because you know what? There's a legitimate chance this is going to be the last time that school gets there because there's not going to be a school soon.
Probably not. And same thing happened, the Central Valley. We're finding out how they're becoming so good. They scarfed 4 players from Rochester roster, brought them across the river to Central Valley. So now there's a lot of bitterness up in Beaver County now, because the Beaver County schools, they usually have an unspoken pact between them all.
Now, Mark Lyons is the coach there. Didn't he have, now he had a Monaca connection, right?
Right, he was with Monaca.
He went to Mount Pleasant. I remember when Highlands played him, he was there.
Yes, and he still teaches in Mount Pleasant Junior High. He drives to Monaca every day.
Goodness.
And I asked him, I said, what about that? He says it takes him about an hour, but he can use the time to think about what he wants to do, employing his game plan, how he wants to handle practice that day, players that might need extra attention. So in his eyes, it kind of works out. And then he lives up there, so it's not like he's going back and forth the same day.
And that gave Bob Palco his 7th championship, which is the most of anybody outright.
Right.
Somebody had a tie. One of the
Phil Bridlebaugh
from Newcastle, right? Had
in 1932, McKeesport, Jeanette, and Newcastle were all undefeated and untied, and they wanted to have like a mini playoff. Jeanette and Newcastle arranged. McKeesport and Newcastle arranged a game, and WPIL said no, you can't do that. And there was such an outcry that after that year, they started to play actual championship games between people. It used to be a mess. The WPIL, in the early 1900s, they had the Syracuse Alumni Association of Western Pennsylvania decide the WPIL champion.
Well, that's great.
And they awarded them the Syracuse Cup. That's what the WPIL championship was called then. It was just such a mess.
Makes so little sense.
It absolutely makes none.
Typical Whitfield, too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's. I'm going to write this down. That's A and AAA. We'll do. We'll knock down quad A and double when we have a chance. So let's go to the lines. We have some callers. Mr. Tampa Bay is along.
And his team
is winning
pulled off an
3 in a
upset.
row, and Greg Schiano's being saved. So let's go to him. Mr. Tampa, how are you?
Good, 3 in a row.
3 in a row, I'll tell you what. And
there's
one thing I will say about them before you get on with your call, and that is that they've played hard for this guy the whole way through, even when things weren't going well.
Right.
So it isn't as if that the players were quitting on their coach, because that wasn't happening. And that is so easily a situation that could have gone in the tank, and they'd have had to fire him and make Dave Wanstead the coach, and none of us wanted to see that. So
they played pretty good yesterday against Detroit.
They did. Yeah. You know what? The Lions are amazing, though, because they can so hand one back to you. And the great thing about Matthew Stafford is that when he has the ball, there's a really good chance that somebody's going to score. I'm not exactly sure who, but either his team or the other team. And I think he threw 4 interceptions.
Well, Johnson gave him the game yesterday on that last interception.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. He basically just threw the ball right to them and ended that one up. Yeah. So what else you got, Tampa?
The reason I'm calling is about the Pirates. Who's going to be the next one to go? Alvarez?
No, I don't. No, I don't think he's the next one to go at all. I think he eventually will go.
3 more years.
3 more years?
But he's not going to make that much money this year. He's going to make. Garrett Jones, they had projected. Garrett Jones was let go today. And Garrett Jones, they had projected at 5.1. And the great thing about the baseball geeks online on these blogs, they're really good at knowing what the arbitration numbers are going to be. And Pedro's going to be at about 4.5 this year, so that's not a big number. It's going to be a raise, but you also got to remember, his base salary looked low on the book, but he had the big bonus that he had spread out over, the day it's spread out over the years on his contract. So he's not going to make a whole lot more this year than he would, but I don't know about you, George, but eventually they are going to trade him. I mean, because they're never going to, with Boris as his agent, they will never sign him when he becomes a free agent because they're going to let him go out on the market.
Yeah, Boris will insist that he go out on the market, and then all bets are off as to what's going to happen. One thing I was surprised to find out about Major League Baseball today, you talk about the salaries constantly. The average Major League Baseball team is only using 43% of its revenue for salaries. So Tampa Bay now that they're rolling in money like there's no tomorrow.
And there's that extra 30 or so million that everyone's
going to add
this
next
year.
Yeah.
That that some teams are spending right now. Apparently, the Yankees are ready to go with that.
What I was thinking back in the day when Mark Cuban was interested in the Pirates. Mm-hmm. And it would be great to have a salary cap. They have to spend at least $80 million at the minimum, but that'll never come in baseball.
No, I don't think it will either. I think you'd have a better product league wide, and it would spread the talent out. I think the thing that the salary cap does in football, more than anything, is spread the quarterbacks out. that you really can't afford to bury a guy on your bench and keep a guy, that the only really good backup quarterbacks that have a chance to be a starter are the guys that are on their first contract. Like I think Kirk Cousins in Washington is good enough to start for maybe half of the teams in the league right now. Yeah. But he's going to be behind Robert Griffin, and he's never going to get a chance to play unless and until Robert Griffin gets hurt again. And I think that's what it spreads out. If you had that in baseball, I think you would have it spread out to the point where the talent would be, the big power hitting guys, you wouldn't be able to have a lot, more than one or two of them on your team, and that one might even it out.
Same thing with starting pitching.
I want
High-end starting.
I want to cut this short. I'll do a trivial question because I'm moved down in Washington County now.
Washington County.
Wow. What are you doing down there?
Oh, my girlfriend lives down there.
Okay.
So where at in Washington County?
A small town called Bellsville, right off of 43.
Okay. That's
population of 2,500 people.
Bellsville?
Yeah, Bellsville.
Wow.
I don't know that one. You?
I don't.
I wonder what school district that is.
Beth Center. They were
Okay.
average points.
Okay. I was down that way a few weeks ago when Apollo Ridge played there.
Yeah, their average points of scoring was 60 points a game and giving up 12, and they lost in the first round of playoffs.
Apollo Ridge, yeah. Apollo Ridge.
Didn't Burrow beat Beth Center to win the title in like 86?
3-0, yes,
3-0 on a Rich Marriott field goal.
Yep.
Yeah, how about
Wow.
that? That was a while back. Yeah, I knew it rang a bell. All right, you ready for trivia then?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Let's. What do you want to do? You want to do multiple choice?
Yeah, give me multiple choice. I'm not that good anymore in Grand Salamis.
All right, ready to go? Go ahead, George.
Okay. Here's our first question tonight, and this will be for Mr. Tampa Bay. What quarterback has thrown the most touchdown passes in his career playing for the most teams? So the answer to this is a guy that moved around a lot. The most career TD passes playing for the most teams. Is it Dave Craig, Kerry Collins, Steve DeBerg, or Vinny Testaverde?
I'd have to say Steve DeBerg.
It's actually, you were in the right town. You got a Tampa quarterback. We actually wanted another Tampa quarterback. Vinny Testaverde is the answer to our question. And Vinny, by the way,
good Thanksgiving.
Hey, you too.
Same to you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, great hearing from you.
Dave,
even though you're in Washington County now, you've
It's all right.
abandoned the AK Valley. We still want to hear from you.
Because the great part about that is that with the computer and the internet now, you can actually watch the show and you don't have to be in the AK Valley to do that, and we need to make sure we get that word out. Before we do the break, George, you want to maybe look at the other games, the other...
Right, and I want to tie up a loose end, too, from our last question. Vinny Testaverde, 275 career touchdown passes with 7 different teams. Now, the bulk of his time was with Tampa Bay, but 7 different teams. He threw a total of 275 touchdown passes in his career.
All right, now let's quickly wrap up this, and then we'll do the break, and then we'll give the caller some time. Double A, I found it interesting that Todd Masick resigned from his job at Riverview this week. So they'll be looking for a football coach, and tying that in to South Fayette winning with Joe Rossi, who was there for a while, and he's done such a great job. And you talk about a growing school district down there at South Fayette. They're not going to be Double A very long.
No, in fact, they think next year they're going to go to AAA.
Yeah, and they beat Aliquippa, and I believe, I don't know how many years in a row this is, but that's got to be 5-6 years in a row that only those 2 schools win now.
Yeah, Aliquippa lost in 2010 to South Fayette, and they lost again this past Saturday. But Aliquippa has been to WPIL title game 6 straight seasons. And how'd you like to be a reporter for the Beaver County Times or a radio announcer for WBVP in Beaver Falls? Their teams have gone to either Heinz Field or Three Rivers Stadium 16 years in a row. They've had at least one Beaver County team down there playing for the WPIL championship.
We like to slam on them up here, but they get their reputation and they earn it because they actually get teams there and they play well and they take it very seriously. Quad A, we would like to congratulate Central Catholic for winning and especially because it's as close as Burrell was going to come to a championship this year. Tell the folks about that little tie-in.
Yes, J.J. Constantino, the quarterback for Central Catholic, who's headed for Florida State. J.J., his father was Burrell's defensive coordinator on the 1995 state runner-up. Also, he was living in Allegheny Township for a while. His parents just moved back to Lower Burrell, so we got a Lower Burrell guy. Plus, the national anthem for the first game at 11 o'clock was sung by Emily Sherrick,
Yes.
a student at Burrell High School. She did a fantastic job, and that's the closest people from Burrell's going to get.
Don't forget Johnny Patrician.
Yes, Johnny Patrician from Burrell. He played very, very well, especially on defense, Mike.
Kid's a heck of a basketball player, too.
Yeah.
I got to tell you that. I saw a lot of him in biddy ball, in Butch Lippett's biddy ball league at Lower Burrell on early Saturday mornings. And there were the two best players in the league were Sidney Borgnero and John Patrician. Those were the two best players. So
that's all you need to know.
That'll tell you that right there. So we owe you for a break right now. We're going to do that. We have a call lined up, and we'll get to that. And we have studio audience members too. I want to do both of those. So let's take that break, and we'll be back right after this.
Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a fourth generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from two locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Faldarelli Square.
Our Sportsline Mystery Profile is sponsored by Mattio's Pizza and Subs in Brackenridge. Everything on Mattio's menu is made with quality ingredients, and that could be the reason people proudly pass the word about their great food. Hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs and hoagies, calzones and strombolis, wingdings, and more. That's Mattio's Pizza and Subs. They have it all, including their signature Iron Man hoagie. Mattio's is located next to District Justice Carolyn Bengal's office in Upper Brackenridge there. And hope you stop by soon. Great food, especially that Iron Man hoagie at Mattio's. Mike?
All right, we have another call. Let's go to that right now. Good evening and welcome.
This is Limo Man.
Hey, Bruce, how you
Limo
doing?
Man.
How you doing? I mentioned you all over the casino the other night.
We're at the Rivers?
Yeah.
You like it down there. I like it down there, too. They take your money.
I like it when I make money down there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was going to say, that could be a lucrative spot for you.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. The cabs hate me.
Well, guess what? It's hard to find a cab.
Yeah.
So
Tell me about it.
Exactly.
When there's no cabs, I get it. They get in.
Especially in this town, it's hard to find one. So what do you got tonight, Limo? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm driving right now. I have different articles, but I don't have. I'm driving, so obviously I can't see
Right.
read them to you. But I just want to let you know, the Steelers finally are getting their act together.
Yeah, they are. They
For sure.
played a good game yesterday, and hopefully they'll be able to. I wonder what the weather's going to be like in Baltimore this week. This storm coming through.
Bad weather.
Yeah, so I don't know. It may be warm enough just for rain, but it could be ugly.
You know what the announcer's name is for the Ravens?
His name is, I do. His name's Jerry
Jerry
Sandusky.
Sandusky.
Yeah, I call him all the time.
It's spelled differently, though. He's
Yeah,
Jerry with a G.
With a G, yeah.
And I gave your name and Bob's double dribble because I called Sonny Jurgensen and Sam Huff. They do the Redskins on WJFK.
There you go.
Sonny
friend
Jurgensen
of
seems
mine.
like a fun
Old
guy to
friend.
be around.
I met him once, son.
Did you?
Yeah.
Still let Sonny Jurgensen smoke his El Producto cigar in the booth.
He had one. I'll tell you what. The day I saw him, he had a stogie about this long, and he was the happiest guy in the world, leaning up against the goalpost, smoking a cigar. So he was pretty cool. That was a thrill for me. I mean, that's a Hall of Famer. You can't beat that.
You know, there's a street named after Sam Huff
Oh, is there really?
in Morgantown, Sam Huff Avenue, and the street next to it is John Knotts Avenue.
About that. Gonna nip
Guy
that
with
in the
the one-
bud. Yeah,
One bullet in the gun.
that's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that something? I'll tell you, Harry Callis, he loved to watch Sam Huff.
Sam
He
Huff was
talked about him all the time.
Sam Huff was a great player. He played for the Redskins and the Giants, both West Virginia guy. Yeah,
Number
he was-
70.
And he's speaking of Hall of Famers, that's another one. So
When he hit somebody, you knew it.
exactly. All right, Limo,
Another
you're
guy was Alex Terrace with the Lions.
another guy. But back when
Just talked about you guys on WJR in Detroit this morning.
another good spot.
I used to do a commercial years ago for a guy that died. He was world famous in Detroit by the name of J.P. McCarthy.
Okay.
And Joel Alexander remembers your show because he's from Pittsburgh. His real name is Joel Zell.
Right.
Used to be the helicopter man in KDKA. He's now the same job with WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
There it is. Used to listen to the Tigers on there all the time with Ernie Harwell back in the day.
I
All right, Limo, let's
met
move.
and drove Ernie Harwell a couple times. Wonderful guy.
He sure
But
was.
did he like Harry Callis?
He was a great guy, Ernie Harwell. Okay, Limo, let's get you some trivia here while we have a chance.
Yeah, so I can win my 93rd prize.
For number 93.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
93.
In honor of Jason Worlds, let's get it. Here we go.
All right.
What NFL running back has scored the most career touchdowns of 50 yards or more? Jim Brown, John Riggins, Barry Sanders, or Walter Payton? The most touchdowns of 50 yards or more.
Walter Payton.
Not it, Limo. The answer is Barry Sanders, the great Detroit Lion running back who had 15 of them in his career and would have had more if he wouldn't have retired early for reasons only known to him.
terrific.
All right, Limo, send us out of
All
here.
right, let me give you the sign for the night.
Go ahead.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
There's a long drive in deep right center field, and this one's for Rachel Catalano.
All righty. Thanks, Limo.
They're always the right center field.
They are, and it must be a short porch out there, and it's easy to get them out. So thanks to Limo for checking in this week. And the great part about that was we got through his entire call, and he never dropped one time. So we were happy about that.
No birthdays.
And no, because he couldn't read them. That's why. He was driving. All right. We have Ken Woods with us tonight. We haven't seen Ken in a while. Ken, last time I saw Ken, he brought up a picture of a deer that he shot bow season, and I'm going to guess you'll be out Monday.
I'm tagged out.
You're done?
Are you?
I'm done.
So you're telling me that, I don't know the rules, because I'm not a hunter. But if you shoot them with the bow, that counts.
You're allowed one antler deer. Then you can purchase antlerless tags, which I did not do.
You didn't want to do doe this year then?
Nope.
Wow, so you're done.
I'm done.
So that's it. Well, you know what? You were probably smart because the weather was a whole heck of a lot
It
better
was beautiful weather.
when you shot yours than what's going to be this weekend, because it's not going to be very nice.
Now, how close can you get before you could make a reasonably good shot with a bow?
I try to limit myself to 20 to 25 yards. Most of the time I shoot a deer, it's under 20 yards. The last one I got was about 8.
And you got that close.
Yep.
Wow.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
My grandfather was a big-time hunter, and he hunted a lot. And you'd see it come home from school, and you'd see it hanging out by the garage. It's like, all right, he got one, because my grandmother made some mean chili with that stuff.
Hey,
I got to
see?
tell you, it was really good. And those are memories from the past. So, all right, Ken, what do you got tonight? What's on your mind?
First, shout out to my cadets down at VMI.
Uh-huh.
They had
Represent tonight. You can see the hoodie there.
Got the
Works.
hoodie. Basketball, they had a military basketball tournament, so they came away top dog down there. They beat Air Force in the final game down there, so congrats to those guys. Came across an interesting bit of trivia to me anyway. I saw an article where Joseph Natoli was passed away here last week. He's 85. Coach and founder of the Morningside Bulldogs. Never heard of that, did a little research. They were a football team for the 11 to 13, 14-year-old From 1950, here's the amazing part. From 1950 to 1980, they were 271, 19, and 8. And they ran the single wing exclusively. And they call themselves, the winningest most football in the world.
That's, and a lot of their players were fed to Westinghouse High School, which wasn't too far from the Morningside section of Pittsburgh. And Westinghouse had an amazing record for just so many years. It's far and above. They've won more City League championships than anybody else, but that was a great feeder program for Westinghouse and for several other high schools, including Penn Hill's Bill Freilich played for the Morningside Bulldogs as a child.
Yeah, I never heard of it, and they did that on that's an outstanding record. Probably the last thing was Steelers. I think the most impressive aspect of the game against Cleveland was no sacks on Ben. And I think he only got knocked down 2, maybe 3 times. And Cleveland's defense, is good. On paper, they're one of the top defenses in the league.
Top 10 defense. Really.
To me, that's something to be said, that they gelled enough to keep Ben on his feet, and if he's on his feet, he can accomplish something.
I think it's worth talking about that offensive line a little bit. Those guys seem to have found their niche. Especially the center, Velasco's done a tremendous job, and he came out of nowhere. He was a cut.
On a scrap heap, what a find. And I think DeCastro is eventually playing himself into a Pro Bowl visit. It probably won't be this year because you have to get reputation before you can do that. But, and the other thing, you look at Marcus Gilbert. Here's a guy that, that practiced all spring. That's all he looked at was left tackle, all spring, all the way through training camp, until they finally decided, I don't think this is going to work, and we need to move you to right tackle. And you throw him over there, and it just wasn't working out at the beginning. But really, the right side of the line has been pretty solid. And the one thing that I really think that needs to be done that I really don't want to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, and that's give credit to Todd Haley because, if you looked at the plays that they were running yesterday, they came out 1, 2, 3, bang, and he was just getting it out of there and throwing the short, quick passes. And there wasn't a chance for a rush to be put on the guy. And Ben's, the thing about Ben is, and the people really don't give him enough credit for, is how accurate he is at throwing those short ones. He'll get a ball, but it drives me crazy. He'll get balls batted down for a guy that big. But a lot of times that's the lineman's fault for not getting the arms of the defenders down. And I give Haley credit for the game plan that they had going into yesterday's game. I just wish they could run the ball better.
Yeah, and I just don't like the first 10 plays being scripted. Because you don't know what the weather's going to be. You have adjustments to make. A lot of teams do that, but I just don't like it.
It goes all the way back to Bill Walsh, and they don't necessarily use them in the order that they have them on there, but they're going to pick from those 10, and they're going to use them, and then they'll have situational things that they might go to. But offensively really hasn't been the issue, guys. It really hasn't. When this team's gotten into trouble, it's because the defense has been bad. They scored enough points to win the Minnesota game. They scored enough points to win in New England. Their biggest problems have been when their defense has fallen apart on them. And really, as much as we criticize Haley and don't like some of the things he does and his methods, and I don't like the way he was foisted upon Ben when his offensive coordinator that he liked so much could be the coach of the year 2 years in a row with 2 different teams, by the way. The defense has really been the issue with them, and it's the age of those guys and not being able to replace retiring guys or guys that they let go. Quickly. Guys are, and it takes time, and it's, we don't want to be patient, even though we've been good for a really long time. Yeah. It's like it could take a year or 2 of this. Guys like Hayward playing so much better, and he's come into his own, and it looks like he's
Al Woods did a nice job.
Al Woods was terrific at the nose after McClendon went out yesterday. He had 2 sacks. He stuffed the middle up, and he's a wide-bodied guy that played high-level football at LSU, and you just don't. You can't play defensive line in the SEC and not be any good. So there's a guy right there. I think McClendon's miscast. I think he should be an end. And if they can find somebody to take that middle spot over, that you move, because Ziggy Hood will be gone next year, and they won't sign him back. Yeah. But you move McClendon out there to share time with Kiesel for as long as Kiesel goes. I think you have something on that defensive line. I think you have maybe Al Woods is your answer there. I don't know.
What would you think about a 4-3? You play him and McClendon both in the middle.
Yeah, I like a 3. I'm a 3-4 guy, but especially with the personnel that they have right now. And then the next question becomes, what do you do with Jason Worlds? Yeah. Now Jason Worlds, when you put him on the left side, he turns into the second coming of of Lawrence Taylor over there. But when he plays on the right side, you hardly hear from him.
Isn't that strange?
It's like, just because of which hand you have on the ground, I don't know if, and then it would be so easy to just leave that as is. But the problem with cutting Lamar Woodley in the offseason would be that the cap hit you would take would be enormous and it would be prohibitive. I just don't think they can do it yet. Now, the next question, and Larry Foote has said this, that Lamar Woodley would be just fine going over to the other side. Well, why don't you flip him and try whenever he comes back, which probably won't be this week. But then, you don't want to stunt Jarvis Jones's progress either because it's going to take time for some of these guys.
Yeah, there was a thought that Jarvis Jones could just walk on the field and take over, and it rarely happens. I remember Polamalu's first year. There were some doubts. There were people expressing some doubts. Oh, what's the story with this guy?
Well, we were saying that yesterday watching the game, that I hope that Jarvis Jones is having his Polamalu rookie year. Yeah. And then if you give me what he's given after that, I'm great for that. But, but you do. And Ed Bouchette's talked about this many times, that, nobody comes into that defensive scheme as an outside linebacker and starts in their rookie year. It just doesn't happen. And outside linebacker I'm talking about. And that's what's so unusual about what Jarvis Jones has been basically asked to do. But but the thing with Worlds is he's basically become Keenan Lewis. He hasn't shown anything until the second half of his last year, and now you're kind of in a quandary there. What do you do with the guy? Because is this just his push for this first contract, or is he really becoming a good player? Keenan Lewis has become a good player. He's doing very well for New Orleans. Things are going to have to look at. I mean, how much is it going to cost him to sign back, and all this goes into the equation. So we got to do trivia if we can.
Yeah. What would you like trivia-wise, Kenny?
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice? Okay, let's go with our, I think it's your turn, Mike, isn't it?
No, I believe it's you.
Oh, okay, that's right. I did the other one. So here's our next multiple choice question. This one is for Kenny. Who was the quarterback for the replacement squad for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 1987 strike season? Your choices: Steve Bono, Steve Walsh, Steve Berline, or David Woodley.
Yeah, how about Bono? Steve Bono.
And you are absolutely correct. Our first winner for the night, it was Steve Bono, who went to high school outside of Philadelphia and then played for UCLA, and he got a little stint with the Steelers during the strike-marred 1987 season.
And came up with at least one Super Bowl ring backing up Steve Young in San Francisco. That's right. I remember, quickly, we got to go to a break. I remember coming back from a friend of mine's wedding in Virginia, flying over Three River Stadium to come back home. At a replacement game, they were playing Indianapolis, and the place was empty. And it was like they counted it as a sellout. They didn't want to mess up their streak. Yeah. But those were interesting days. Steve Bono, and the backup was Reggie Collier, who went on to fame and fortune either before. I'm not sure if it was before that or after that in the USFL, playing for the Memphis Showboats.
Was he Southern Mississippi?
I believe he was, and he was a heck of a talent who probably was overlooked because of the type of player that he was, that probably would have had a better chance to get it done today than he did back then. But he was an interesting player. All right, Ken, thank you. Yeah. As always, we're going to take a break right now. And do that. We still have time for you. 724-236-0430 is the number. Give us a call. We'll be back with more right after this.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My First Book on Sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Tower Auto Sales in Blonox, you have the luxury of choice for over 40 years. It's the place to buy your vehicle, and just as important as where you buy is what you buy. Call Mike Fanto and let Tower and their experienced staff help you with the purchase of your next pre-owned vehicle. Remember the slogan of Tower Auto Sales, just buy it. Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blonox. That phone number, 412-828-6202. Tony from Arnold has checked in. Tony from LA is in the house. Good evening, Tony.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Bob took the night off, huh?
Bob's got the night off. He'll be back next week.
Ah, boy. He's using his head.
He is.
Yeah, I think so.
That was one heck of a game last night with Denver and New England.
That just proves that you don't have to have a rooting interest to find a game enjoyable.
Right,
I didn't care who won.
You're just riveted to that
It was
game.
unbelievable. I mean, 24-zip, and they come back and they tie the game and then win it. You go ahead and win it. Oh, brother. I got to, you know what? I got to say Brady's better than Manning after I seen that last night.
Right now.
Yeah.
Well, if you had a game that you had to win and you had your choice of quarterbacks, I've said for years that I would take Brady.
Me too.
Even though Peyton Manning has better numbers than he does, he just knows what to do.
I heard a guy today, and when he's describing the game and talking about the differences between the two of them, and he said that, and he says, and this is meant in the most complimentary of ways, that when it comes down to the end and it comes down to winning the game, Tom Brady is just plain mean. And he'll do whatever it takes to win that game, and that is a compliment, and that's the way it's meant. And he's also entitled and over the top half of the time. I'll throw that part in myself, but he is, and I just don't think. I think Manning's basically done myself, and I don't. And if you look at his numbers, it was 24-0, and he had absolutely nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it was all defense.
It was, and he looks to me that he's always had issues with the cold. And I heard a discussion today that they said that part of the reason that the Packers got rid of Brett Favre was that they knew that 5 years prior to them getting rid of him that he couldn't win in the cold anymore, and it was time to go. That there comes a point where at whatever the age is, and it's different for every guy, that you're just not going to be able to function out there anymore. And Manning just showed that last night. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there, and did the best he could, but it was painful to watch sometimes. And Brady it doesn't bother him at all. Now, there's going to come a time when Tom Brady can't play in the cold either, but it just hasn't happened yet.
That's not now.
Well, he spent all them years, under the dome.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the only time he's outside when when they played away games, and so they had at least 8 away games, but that doesn't mean they were in bad weather.
Right.
For all of them. But the 8 games, at least the 8 games at home was under the dome. So all them years, and then you try to get out there. Every game's going to be in cold weather when you go play home at Denver.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty up there in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as Favre, you're playing in the frozen tundra, right? Green Bay.
Yeah.
And then he was smart. He went indoors to finish. See, that's the point. Manning's done it backwards. Kickers do this, and you'll notice this. Yeah. Kickers will get old, and they'll get to the point, and you'll see guys that have been a long time, and they'll go to a team that's an indoor team to finish up their career.
Like Vinatieri.
And it's Adam Vinatieri. He'll kick till he's 45 in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. And you know what's amazing? How Pittsburgh can't run that no-huddle offense because teams could pick up different things and that, but nobody has told Brady or Manning about that lately, I guess.
Well, look.
I mean, that was a ridiculous statement.
It was.
Because as soon as they get into that, they move right down the field. I mean, right down the field.
Well, you guys both remember that back in the 80s and the 90s with Boomer Esiason in Cincinnati or Jim Kelly in Buffalo, and when you have the talent to do it, it makes it very difficult on a defense because they are not able to substitute, and it wears you out. Yeah. And you know, you can't do it. You know, they're not built to do it all the time, the whole game. I get that, but the point is that Ben's comfortable doing it. Their offense is better when they do it, and it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to hand it off out of it either. That's the part that
it isn't that. I think it's just that they don't have the control when when Ben's running that. He's running the whole show.
Right.
And sometimes guys have egos.
Oh yeah.
And if they can't control, if I'm the head coach and you're the offensive coordinator, and I can't control that game, who needs him? And sometimes I wonder who does need them. But I think that's a big part of it too. That as soon as they put it in his hands, they lose control.
Well, and you guys all too remember back in the day, the quarterback called their own plays. They didn't.
Oh yeah.
The only team I think that called the plays from the sideline was Dallas, and Landry would shuffle the guards in and out. And one year, I think he even shuffled the quarterbacks in and out to do it. And but back in they called Bradshaw dumb. He called every play.
Yeah.
So
Bradshaw called his own plays.
He did. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then I remember the one time somebody was talking. He said, "Noel sent a play in." And Bradshaw, the heck with that play. We're going deep.
I'm going to use this one, exactly.
So, hey. My boy, he does, he referees out in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interesting story. I think I told you guys this last year that the kid from Fort City, Gus Ferrant. Yeah. Well, he was coaching out there around St. Louis. And my boy did a game last year, and he went up to him, told him, he said, "I had you in high school, and now I got you coaching your own team." Well, Saturday was my boy's fourth playoff game out of 6. He did the semifinals, and that team was in the finals, but Gus Ferrant wasn't there. He left.
Right.
Yeah, his daughter, I guess, is going to school out east, so he moved back to Pennsylvania, I guess.
Plus, his son Gunnar is going to Central Catholic. He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the next Central Catholic quarterback following J.J. Constantino and Tino Sinceri.
Yeah. So I guess he moved back this way, so...
Yeah, he's moved back to the Pittsburgh area.
I believe Tino was a backup on Saskatchewan and won his first Grey Cup last night. How about that? Good for Tino. Tino, they listed him at like 6'1". He's about as tall as me, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Have anybody wondered about Tino's issues?
Oh, well, hey. But, they lost, though. His ex-team lost. So he said, it was fun doing it.
How about Gus?
Yeah, but, Well, guys, I just about run out of stuff because the Steelers won, so there's nothing to really jump on.
There's nothing to complain about, Tom. Don't you hate that?
The Penguins didn't play yet. I mean, they looked, the same against Montreal.
They did. No, I'm not liking what I'm seeing very much right now, to be honest with you. They get a tough one tonight against the Bruins. I don't know how that's going to end up, but that's going to be difficult.
Probably not well.
Yeah, probably.
But you know what? The goals Fleury's, let in. There was nobody in front of him. He got beat badly.
Yeah, he couldn't get that area cleared up.
And I don't know. I think I better see if he needs glasses or something. I just don't understand. Something's up there like that. Well, George, it's been a while since you've been on, huh?
That's right. Probably about a month.
Wow. Oh, well.
In fact, it was so long ago, the Steelers were in last place. We were talking that night about whether they're going to get the 3rd, 4th, 5th draft pick coming up.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't jinx this.
No. Well, let's hope they can continue. But I just hold my breath every game.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what team's going to show up. But, it's amazing that, them guys are all out. We're playing, Kiesel, and we're playing better ball. maybe they were the problem.
Well, yeah, maybe it's time. You know, it's going to be time for all those guys pretty soon.
Right.
And I think the faster you make the you don't want them all to go at once. I understand that, but sometimes you might want to make the transition. It might not be the worst thing in the world. All right, Tony, you ready for trivia?
Yes, sir.
What are we doing? Salami?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go,
All
Mike.
5 are available. Pick a number.
Show me the salami. Let's see. Let's go with 5. What the heck?
Go with 5. We're going for the Thanksgiving salami. Tony in L.A. Here we go. Who was the only AFL quarterback, AFL, to throw 5 touchdown passes in back-to-back games? The only AFL quarterback to throw back-to-back 5 touchdown passes in back-to-back games.
AFL.
The American Football League.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Oh, boy. I don't know. Shit. John Hadel?
John Hadel is not correct, but it's one of those right church, wrong pew things.
Yeah, again, I had that last week.
Tom Flores, you may remember.
Who?
Tom Flores. He was the coach of the Oakland Raiders, won a couple of Super Bowls with them. And
he threw 5 back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games. I just pulled his stuff up here. He played at Pacific in college, and played for the Raiders also.
Pacific has dropped football.
If you figure it'd be somebody that Don Coryell was
coaching.
Yeah, was involved with.
Well, it says right here, Flores is a member of that Sid Gilman coaching tree, so you're right in there. That's where Don Coryell came from, so that works it. Okay, Tony.
Hey, guys, have a great Thanksgiving.
Okay, hey, thank you.
You
Same
do the
to you,
same. We'll
Tony.
go for our last break, and we'll get Paulie in the chair and finish things up and see if we messed anything up. So we'll take that break, and we'll be back right after this.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
See us first for holiday decorations and supplies. Our entire inventory's on sale at discount prices. Don't wait. Supplies are limited. Since you'll spend less than you thought on decorations, see us for gifts. Our inventory of new name brand furniture, tools, housewares, pet supplies, automotive supplies, and toys are also on sale at discount prices.
Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Arnold Furniture has been the area's favorite furniture store for over 37 years. The selection just can't be beat. 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. You'll always find friendly personal service from the Miller family, and you'll love the prices where we consistently beat the competition. Plus, free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Hey, don't forget my book, Ali Kiski Sports History. It's available now at Costello's Printing in Trenton, along with the Hot Dog Guys shop at Stewart Plaza in Lower Borough, and at the Klingensmith Pharmacy chain here in Armstrong County, Leechburg, Freeport, Katanning, and Ford City. 1995 makes a perfect Christmas gift, Ali Kiski Sports History. Mike?
A wonderful stocking stuffer. I'm going to throw that out there for all you folks. All right, we're in the home stretch right now. We've come around the turn. We've hit the quarter pole, and it's time for Paul.
What did you guys mess up?
Yeah, what did we mess up, Rez? Stat Boy, reality, what did we mess up?
There's only one game on Thanksgiving night. That's the Egg Bowl.
Okay, you don't recognize pro football on Thanksgiving
No.
night. Thanksgiving Day, you're good with the Lions game early, though, right?
Yeah, and the Cowboys.
I guess Matt Flynn will be starting since he's on his fourth team this year for the Packers, so we have that going for us.
Wow. Did you guys catch the highlights? I think they called it the Howie Long Bowl yesterday when his 2 sons played for the one for the Rams, one for the Bears.
Yes, and they got in a fight.
Yeah. Do you think that was put on?
I don't know. I think the parents were there, so they were able to ground them both after the game was over. That's why they were both there.
Yeah, I was flipping around after 1 o'clock, and I stayed on that game for 10 minutes, and then I saw it happen. When it happened, I thought, then they kept showing Howie Long and his wife. I thought maybe this was, like staged or something.
One of those hockey fights where they stage the thing, and I don't think so.
Yeah, that was my first
Well, the
impression.
one brother ran off the bench. Did you see?
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of ran off the bench to get in the pile. I don't know. The one brother, I get them mixed up. The one that's not the one that's on the Rams, but the other one, the one that went to Oregon, the younger boy, had all kind of trouble out there. I guess he had issues, and they're trying to get him on the straight and narrow. So I don't know what the story.
Chris
about that.
Long and I think Chad Long. I'm not.
Yeah, Chris Long is one of them, and I can't remember.
I can't remember.
That was a big deal. Yeah, they always make such a big deal out of the Manning boys playing. I guess they figured it was time to let's get some linemen some
attention
love.
here.
Exactly. They gave Howie a week off, and they refilled his spot in the studio with Randy Moss. Don't you love, George, how these people they're the most antagonistic idiots when they play, and then they become members of the media, and you're supposed to treat them normally.
Yeah, with deference like Ray Lewis and.
Ray.
Well, Paul,
go ahead.
Well, tell us. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but tell us for our viewers who are unknowing, what is the Egg Bowl?
The Egg Bowl is Ole Miss and Mississippi State. It's been on ESPN off and on since since the late 70s.
I used to watch that thing when Jackie Sherrill was coaching Mississippi State, so I had a personal interest in Jackie, obviously, and I always enjoyed his work when it didn't have to do anything to do with a bull. And so I used to watch the Egg Bowl then, but. There's some good ones this weekend. You have that. You have the Ohio State-Michigan game will be this weekend. They seem to have now, Thanksgiving weekend there for a while didn't have a whole lot of these.
Right.
And now they've moved to put a lot of them there, and then they have the conference championship games the week after.
Plus Thanksgiving falls late this year.
It does. So they have all those scheduled. The Ohio State game is scheduled. The Stanford, I think Stanford Cal might have been last week, but yeah, that's right. Stanford's playing Notre Dame this week. Right. Georgia Tech will be this week.
Right.
South Carolina Clemson's this week. So that's some watchable games. Pitt's playing Friday, of course, against Miami, and George and I both think they have a chance to win this.
I do. I don't want to go too far with this, but yeah, Miami's not what I thought they were going to be when the season got underway.
And when their top running back got hurt, that really changed a lot. That was in the Florida State game. And they went into that game undefeated, riding high, and thought that they were something, and it turned out that they were pretty much the same Miami team that we've had. And then last week when Duke just pounded them, that wasn't.
Well, isn't that an amazing story? Duke, a team that Pitt, they more or less outscored them, and they just survived it.
Unbelievable.
And here it turns out Duke is now number 24 in the country.
They are, and if they win this week against North Carolina, which is going to be a difficult game for them. If they win that game, they will be in the ACC championship game against Florida State.
Wouldn't that be something?
I think if they lose, I think it's going to come down to Virginia Tech. It'd be like a 5-team tiebreak. The Pitt won't be in, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. What are we going to do trivia here?
I'm ineligible. I won.
You're ineligible. Okay, we can talk some more. That. I just wanted to make sure we had that in there. So
wouldn't it be something if Northern Illinois and I think Fresno State after New Year's Day were the only two undefeated teams left?
Yeah, they both can't go to the. I don't think they can both go to a BCS game.
They can't.
No.
But I think Fresno State has the inside track right now. And then see, I've been lumping Central Florida into this mix, but they don't count because they're in the. I call it the American League now, the old Big East.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a conference.
And they get an
win.
automatic.
So they'll get an automatic shot in, and they look good. I like their quarterback, and
their uniforms look like Butler High School.
Georgia Leary, baby, made his second. Made the second living down there.
Yeah. Some of these new college uniforms in football, it's just like Maryland and Oregon
oh my goodness,
and Indiana.
Well, here's what you get with that. Maryland, the Under Armour guy is a Maryland alum, and that's why they get fed all that stuff, just like Phil Knight up at Oregon with the craziness they get there. Okay, Paul, thanks.
All right, have a good
day.
day.
You can have a nice Thanksgiving,
okay,
you and everybody out there. You too, George. We have 30 seconds before we wrap it up. We'll thank everybody in the back. Billy Joe, Bill, Josh for this triumphant return. Good to have you back there. And so now it's going to be quiet for this weekend, I'm going to guess, for us, and then we get back at it with basketball after that.
Well, it looks like I'll have a game to do for the Altoona Mirror on Monday night or Friday night. I'm waiting.
Corey Geiger's unavailable?
What's going on? Corey Geiger's unavailable, so looks like I might be doing the Tussey Mountain game against North Catholic up at Hampton's Fridley Field, one of your favorite places.
Beautiful. Let's wrap it up. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm Mike Pavlik.
I'm George Guido. Happy Thanksgiving.
Good night.
Thank you for watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl and Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.